2017 was known to be a year that had phenomenal games, new consoles, throwbacks.
Yes, the throwbacks!
And more that came out and was fully enjoyed. So we decided, even though we're not like pros, don't take us really serious, we just kind of wanted to spitball our opinions out there and share what our top 5 games of 2017 are. So I'm Jova.
I'm Nisi.
And we're Lunatic Gamers.
Assassin's Creed Origins goes all the way back to the beginning, before Christ, BC, and we follow the story of this assassin by the name of Bayek, who is Magi of Siwa. Pretty much, he's the leader of his village, and we follow him on his adventures with Aya, his wife, and other characters, to avenge the death of their son Kemu, who was killed by a group calling themselves the Order of the Ancients. All right. And what this game does is just follows the story, pretty much the historical timeline of Cleopatra and her reign, who is the last pharaoh of Egypt, just in general. All right, so you're following Cleopatra, Ptolemy, her brother, a lot of Roman figures and Greek figures. They kept it true to the, like, pretty much the fictional aspect of it was in direct parallel, if not close enough, to the actual storyline, the actual historical storyline. Like together, they just intertwined it. It was like so nice. Like, for example,
pull out spoiler warning. If you don't want to know what happens, just leave now or skip to some other part. We'll add a time skip somewhere. Just, I don't want to see complaints in the comments that there's spoilers. We gave you the heads up.
Towards the end, which spoilers, towards the end, they actually showed how Caesar historically was killed, and it was accurate as they described in the textbook. So it was just like they pretty much had to have I think it was Aya or Bayek had to like start off the killing.
It was Aya that did the final killing
for Caesar. Yeah, so Aya was the one that actually killed Caesar, but someone had to start it off. So you actually see a whole group of diplomats and everybody just like, the previous titles had like 50% of setting of the modern era and also past setting, where you're taken back into the past of the previous assassin, and sometimes you're played as the modern era characters. This title actually only allows you to play 90% of the past, but only like 0.2% of the modern era, where you're introduced to Layla, who's in the Animus so much, and is trying to explore not only her own ancestral memories, but other memories that don't even belong to her. So yeah, that was pretty interesting, but at the same time, it was just like we needed more context to that part before anything. Like, why is she even there? Like, not why is she even there, but like more context as to at the end, like what happened to her after that, like who is she, or what's the purpose of her being there, all that, you know. So we just didn't get more of that in the game. Gameplay wise, it was a really nice story. I enjoyed it, and it just immersed the character more. It was open world concept, so it was linear.
I wouldn't say the game's linear at all. It's completely open world, and you can do almost anything in any direction. It's optional in a way. You can almost complete the whole game without even doing the storyline. If you just wanted to roam around, hunt anywhere, level up, do side quests, you can do that and just not touch the main game. Like, there's more quests that open up if you do complete the main quest, but
yeah, the
fact that what made Assassin's Creed Origins different from its predecessors is the fact that it's a whole world you can explore, and even after you go to just the main locations in the game to complete main quests, or even with some exploring, there's still more you can do, and they use a lot of the new RPG factors that they add into the game. Alright, so as we get to the ending of the game, we kill almost the last of all the Order members, or all of the Order members at this point.
The majority of them.
And Aya and Bayek just end up splitting off, even though their purpose is kind of done. And we get to play as Aya, and of course we continue more of this ridiculous sea boat, we're gonna just throw bombs, shoot thing, and we get to Rome. And she's the one that does like the assassination of Caesar, and she's the one who ends up becoming Amu and becomes the very first assassin. Now there's a lot of problems with this.
That's bullshit.
a lot of problems.
Bullshit, man.
It's like the ending itself seemed too rushed in the direction it was going for story writing. Knowing that this plot was so good and we're sticking with Bayek, we get to know Bayek's character. We know that he has a sweet side for kids, and we see it in a lot of his interactions when he goes town to town.
Yeah.
And you talk with the NPCs, especially children. He'll play around with them. But Aya's character definitely showed, in a sense, more definition than Bayek's, because we know Bayek's plot as his character has a linear purpose. He wants vengeance for his son, and after he did his vengeance, he would have been fine with continuing his life. As compared to Aya as a character, she goes through this transition working with Cleopatra. We get to see her get betrayed, and the fact that she decides that there's more to just dealing with this vengeance and getting it done and over with, to transitioning, becoming the leader of the assassins. And, you know, she says that famous line at the end, rescate in pace. And it's just, I want to know more about this character, what kind of made her turn into this direction, and we don't get that at all. And it's like Ubisoft, you had the golden ticket right there, and you just went and you ripped it up, and you were like, we're just gonna stick with the golden boy here, because most of our other protagonists in the series were guys. Even though we're gonna add female characters, we're not even gonna highlight what they truly are.
Yeah.
I mean, Layla, outside of the Animus, I can kind of bypass because it was pretty boring, and she's a new character. We don't know what they're gonna do with Desmond. If anyone really reads the comics, if they're gonna use his son, or we're gonna see Layla in the next, you know, series of Assassin's Creed, the next title game.
Yeah.
So it's just, it leaves you with more questions than answers.
Ubisoft, you got a whole lot of work that you need to do.
Yeah. So if the ending brings disappointment, which is kind of the reason why we placed this game last, you know?
Yeah.
Story writing is a huge part of games and why we kind of play games.
Yeah.
Because if we valued everything else besides the wonderful graphics, I don't even think this game would be on the list because of so many issues with the gameplay and how it was done. Even though it was a great rework and it really brought the franchise back after the downfall of some of the other titles.
We don't want to talk about those.
I mean, honestly, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since the first one, so that shows how much it really was highlighted in, like, my eyes. But this turn,
it just didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense, but I feel that if you guys or Ubisoft can improve the writing just a little more, maybe the next Assassin's Creed might be a huge golden ticket for you guys. But yeah, I think that sums up our number 5 on our list, and we'll move on to our number 4, which is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This game was released in late summer, August of 2017. It was, of course, by Naughty Dog. It was the spin-off title to their classic Uncharted series, which I like to call the Nathan Drake collection, because, I mean, what just doesn't break in this game? Like, even when you play this game, things are still breaking. And, of course, like, Naughty Dog, I have so many questions I want to ask you about this. Like, why is it every time we get so close, you just go break something, and the white paint ledges that just magically they're there in, like, grimy areas? Like,
the fuck?
I love the puzzle solving if I actually can solve it without all the hand holding, but I digress. This really isn't my game to talk about, so I'm gonna let Nice take over because she's more of the Uncharted pro than I am.
No, yeah, so pretty much it takes place in India, and you're joined firstly with Chloe, who's on a journey to discover the location of this Hoysala ruin and this relic called the Tusk of Ganesh, who's a Hindu god. And she's also joined up by Nadine, who you meet in Uncharted 4 if you have played that. And it's two unlikely characters that actually do pair up with each other. So it's just like one wanted to kill the Drake brothers actually with a gun to their head, and another one actually killed them both in bed. So it's just like, but anyway, no, you join them both as they adventure through India, and they search through the ruins of the ancient Hoysala Empire, and they're looking for this Tusk of Ganesh while trying to avoid this warmonger by the name of Asav, who's apparently unpredictable as they come. It's a more linear game where they actually have you do like one side mission, and you have to, and pretty much that's getting the Queen's Ruby. But the cool thing about it is that they add in like some real world elements, like social media wise, the touchscreen phone, the trophy title when you get the Queen's Ruby. It's titled Yas Queen, and you're just like, Why Naughty Dog? Why would you name this as a trophy? Good. Kudos to you. But like, yo, what phone is she using though? I want it. Like, to not crack. Like, how many times has she's fallen off a cliff, and her phone could have actually just like, pretty much like when it comes to like teaching you historical. This is why I like these historical games, because if you don't know about it, the game will talk about it, and then if you're really interested in learning more about it, bam, you have Google. But that's if you're actually willing to do the work and going in more depth and everything. But I think the game does the work for you and telling you what everything is, and you're just like, huh, that's interesting, I didn't know about that. But they refer a lot to the Hindu polytheism. You know, the way it ended, with spoilers if you don't want to listen to this, pretty much it ends up with all three of them, Chloe, Nadine, and Sam. Alright, which I am surprised Nadine hasn't shot the poor man at this point.
I mean, she tries.
She tries. She's like, you've been betraying me all this time. Why? Like, why is he working with you? Anyway, it ends off with them like sitting on a broken trail rack, and Nadine actually wants to drop Shoreline, her company that she's been working for in Uncharted 4, drop them and actually go on her own treasure hunting adventures, which is like, Naughty Dog, are you hinting at another Uncharted game? Let me find out. I'm gonna be looking for that. But the one thing I don't like about it is that it's way too short.
I mean, but it was originally intended as a DLC.
Yeah, but
to get like a full spin-off, you can't really expect too much. And Uncharted games as its own, they clock in at least under 20 hours.
It's way too short in my standards. Like, for example, the chapters, I believe there are 8 chapters. I believe there are 8 or 13 chapters in the game itself, and I think that's way too short compared to Uncharted 4. Mm-hmm. Uncharted 4 had like maybe almost 30 chapters. I get it, like 2 female protagonists, that's great and everything. Like, there's more female protagonists in games nowadays, but it's just, for it to be that short, it just disappoints me as a gamer. Mechanic wise, it stuck true to the tradition. How the characters interact with each other is just hilarious, because they still kept with the antics similar to what Nathan and Sully does with each other. Nadine and Chloe reflect that as well. I'm still waiting for that next game to focus on Nadine, because we don't see much of her character in Uncharted. Like, the most new detail that you get is the fact that she's from South Africa.
I feel like one thing I did like a lot is that since it focused mostly more on Chloe, because we're also playing Chloe throughout the whole game, yeah, we get a little more to like her character and mm-hmm. the sentiment that she holds for treasure hunting, because the tusk of Ganesh was from her father, so yeah, it's like it brings in a home sense, kind of the same way Nate was with the whole, you know, Sir Francis Drake type thing. So it ties in the series with those like little connections, and yeah, the way Naughty Dog knows how to write a character, and you kind of can like feel with the character, and you have connections to these characters that they write about. And it's not only represented in this game or Uncharted as a series, you can see it also in other games like The Last of Us. So that's something that definitely brings Naughty Dog as a development team into its like standpoint.
They know how to hit the emotions, because now you learn that these 2 girls are actually daddy's little girls, okay? Because they follow after their father's footsteps, and it's just like, that kind of hit home with me. I'm just like, wow, it's kind of true. But at the same time, I can't speak for the rest of the female species. But yeah, I think we can wrap that up.
So for our number 3 on our list, we're hopping in the Odyssey, and we're going into Nintendo's first-party classic franchise, Super Mario Odyssey. It's a mixture of what made classical Mario games, you know, stand out, and bring it into this newer title in a revamped way. A lot of people compare Super Mario Odyssey to, you know, Sunshine, Galaxy, but for me and a lot of other people I know compare it to Nintendo 64. I mean, guys, it's sandbox style platforming that's been revamped in kind of open world, collecting power moons. When you compare it to 64, you're collecting stars. And I mean, even at the end of the game, when you get to Mushroom Kingdom and you get to Peach's Castle, you get stars instead of power moons, and it is the Peach's Castle from 64. So it's just like, my childhood is relived.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate throwback. Like,
yeah.
what the hell?
And it's like everything about the Mario, well, this Mario game in particular, it's not really anything new plot-wise. We're saving Peach from Bowser again, and Bowser's like, oh, we're gonna get married this time. Guess what, guys? It's not a new plot. If you know your Mario games, it has a plot which is basically similar to Super Paper Mario, which came out on the Wii in 2007.
Yeah.
So
it has a little bit of what you grew up with. Like, it has a little bit of each. Like, if you like that classic Mario game, and you have the classic game in there when you're in New Donk City, which should be renamed New Dank City. Like,
yeah, Metro Kingdom was probably the best kingdom, hands down. It's like the best one, especially, you know, you hear Pauline sing jams. You're doing the whole little thing when it has like the tribute to Donkey Kong.
Yo.
So there's not many games that kind of like tie in all of these elements together, and I'm gonna eat my words later on in this list as I say that, and I already know why. So before you write that on the comments, please have some mercy on my soul.
Visually satisfying thing to watch. It's like,
well, that's just
God.
the classic Nintendo polish. Yeah. Nintendo games are always known to have like the perfect polish on their games. And the playthrough of this, you know, playing it with the new controls, new mechanics on the Joy-Cons were pretty easy, but there were a lot of connection issues with the Joy-Cons to the actual console.
Yeah, it's the equivalence of pretty much like how the old style TV and trying to have a connection to it. Like, you're holding up the hanger, like your family member's telling you, hey, go to the left. No, we just saw something. Go to the right. No, like you're literally there just standing on top of the TV trying to like get a connection and everything.
Yeah, that's literally how it was, and I just got so frustrated halfway through recording the video that I actually had to like stop it and look for my Joy Grip because I don't have $80 to spend for a Pro Controller just yet.
Whoa, bro.
But also the major new mechanic in the game is using Cappy, who's your companion, that spirit of some sort of weird thing that can take over hats. So he plays Mario's hat in this game, and you can use it to capture coins. You can go around, capture different characters, and you can play as them. I mean, you can even play as Bowser towards the end. So
yeah, oh my
God.
That
ending was really interesting, and just the ending of the game alone, it was just like.
Like, Mario should have just stuck with Pauline at that point.
Honestly, he should have. He should have stuck with Pauline.
Like, Pauline offers more than Peach.
Nintendo, I'm getting too frustrated with this. This is how many years now? 32 years since Mario started?
Let Bowser have Peach, alright? I mean, who doesn't like a nice, like, shave on the side? You see how his hair was?
Oh, he kept his hair fancy this game.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, he had that fade going and everything, the whole slick look. Like, what the fuck?
It was just like... Especially like when he had the hat off and it was just like parted to one side, I was like, damn.
Like, let Peach have him, like shit.
But not only that, but the bosses! Like, can we just talk about the fact that we recycled the same bosses so many times in the game?
Oh my God!
And nothing changed. But to do a game like this and to make us go through everything, fight what I like to call the Cabbage Patch Kids, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the game. God. And it's too repetitive. And it's like, I understand there's a certain formula that certain game franchises have to follow, but at the same time, it was too ridiculous. And it was just like, it set the game bar down lower than where I probably would have wanted to place this game on the list, because I did have an amazing time playing this game. It brought back all the feelings that I felt as a child playing, you know, Nintendo 64, you know, Mario 64. And it's just, you know, this factor kind of brought it down.
Yeah, like, good job, Nintendo, for the feel, but, like, come up with something even more new.
And, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Cabbage Patch Kids are a nice replacement to Bowser Jr. and all his little cousins or siblings or whatever they are. But, I mean, it's a good try.
But the feature that I love about Mario Odyssey, which you can have a second player, a player 2, that I
never tried that feature, yeah.
Okay, I like that one because you have first player, and that's Mario. Then the second player, you're playing as Cappy. But yeah, so it was great. Like, I had to try the game. I can't wait till I get it.
But also another thing, and it's like a more common trending thing in gaming, I guess, in the last year or so, this whole fashion element in gaming, as you're going around and you're collecting these specialized coins that cater to each world, Mario can get an outfit for. So even if you also collect the amiibos, the amiibos are kind of multi-purpose. They help you get the outfits earlier, just more precisely for wedding dress Peach, tuxedo Bowser, and tuxedo Mario. You get those early on in the game.
Oh my god! What runs your Odyssey? Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like what the whole like fashion element does, because like with Mario, it's not like something super serious where your outfits affect your stats or what anything like that. It's more like, you know, if I want to be dressed in like my boxers the whole entire game, I'm gonna play in my boxers. If I want to be like, you know, OG classic Mario, I can be that. If I want to play as 64 Mario, or even if I want to mix and match it, maybe I want to put the baseball cap from the racer outfit, and I want to put maybe the happy that he gets in Bowser's castle together and wear that as outfit. As weird as it sounds, it just, you know, brings everyone their own individual experience, and that's what I guess Nintendo tries to put out with this game.
But in the end, like, Super Mario Odyssey is one of those games where it's like, if you're part of the new generation, you get to experience what your parents actually experienced, or what your older siblings, or your aunts, your uncles, your older generation experienced when they were a kid. And if you're an older player, if you've been playing this game for a long time, since you were in diapers in the 80s, you get to re-experience that and then have some new mechanics too, which is like, it really incorporates everybody of every single generation.
Yeah, and that's why, like, what was it? Super Mario Odyssey actually won, like, the Family Game of the Year at the Game Awards because of that. It brings in that tie-in together, you know, because it has all those elements of old and new. It's like, and that's, like, the beauty of Nintendo gaming. It's classic, it's iconic, and it's revamped and restyled in its new way. And that's what Super Mario Odyssey is. And that is why it's placed in our third in our list.
All right, so number 2 on our list, we have Nier Automata.
Or Automata.
That too. Released February 2017 by Square Enix and Platinum Gaming. This game was a clusterfuck. A complex storyline. Holy shit. I don't know how people got through this game. So many endings, so many routes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm sitting here with my sister just listening to it and watching the gameplay, and my sister's about to fall asleep to this thing, and she's just like, I thought I was here for gaming, not for a fucking math problem.
So Nier Automata, directed by Yoko Taro, has come back and created another wonderful masterpiece of writing. And Nier Automata as a game as is, not only to myself, but many others view it as an underrated game of 2017. As we have multiple routes, the main routes, which are routes A through E, which follow the plot stories of 2B, 9S, and A2 as they venture the world in the year 11,900 or 400 something. I'm not too sure on the year. So
somewhere in the future.
Somewhere deep within the future, we're trying to see if Earth can be resalvaged after the aliens came in and, you know...
Even our great-grandkids won't even be alive for that time. Like, their kids would be there.
Well, I mean, that's the point. Well, at the point, the human race is, like, poorly salvaged in the moon. So they created the Yorha units, which are androids, which are classified in different sections. Like 2B, she's more of the infield person as compared to 9S, who's a hacker, and he's more of, like, the view seeker, almost. And he does more hacking, even in their combat styles are different, which you have in different gameplays. So through each of the playthroughs you have in the game, respectively Route A and B, you play 2B and Route A, and you go through her journey, and then you revisit the plot lines of Route A and Plot B, but in the perspective, respectively, of 9S, and there's huge changes in gameplays. 2B is more close quarter combats with her swords. You have different options. You have like a huge brawler sword for more heavier attacks, and you have your smaller sword for shorter, quicker, lighter attacks, which can all be upgraded by getting new little pieces of like bolts and stuff which you find throughout the game, or by solving side quests, because this is an RPG game, but with the hack and slash feeling of like Platinum Gaming, which we know in respectively other games like Bayonetta. When we play as 9S in Route B, there's this huge hacking element in the game, and the hacking can get really irritating because it's like old school gaming where you run around with the little bot and it kind of just shoots out whatever he has and you got to get through it. With each hacking, though, you get more experience, but at the same time, if you fail in your hacking, you lose health once you return back into 9S's body.
That sucks. Oh my god.
Yeah. After you complete routes A and B, we get to the thick of the plot. You can almost say that routes A and B are the prologue to the game, and the real thick of the story really starts hitting in route C as we start to play A2. And her character, she's a Yoha agent that's gone kind of rogue, and she's kind of steering her own path, and she's trying to, you know, reset the storyline. It's just kind of crazy at that point.
It's complicated as fuck.
Yeah,
like,
I totally like did not collect
Tara,
all of my memories together for most of the time before this.
Yo.
So it's like, basically, I'm gonna fragmently probably give the worst sum up of what happens in this game. So forgive me, but the cutscenes will forgive me on this one. But basically, Adam and Eve are like not the hugest plot, because once we get into Route C, there's a virus that infects all the agents, and once 2B and 9S go back into the bunker, everyone's like infected, and then they try to go back to Earth, and then eventually 9S gets infected, and that's why he goes like all apeshit crazy, and you know, he has the final battle with A2 at the end, and then which leads to the huge ending, and then, you know, you just kind of cry, and then feels I want to say more about Nier, but at the same time, we ranked it so high, more me ranking it higher because Nisi has not touched this game.
No, the most I've touched this game is like riding around in the car in Final Fantasy 15 and listening to the fucking music Weight of the World, which is a dope ass song.
Yeah, the soundtrack is really great, but we're not gonna push on it too much right now. But the story is something you have to experience on your own. It's a game where like its experiences remind me a lot of like my childhood earlier on, like with an anime called Ghost in the Shell, the movie that came out in 1995. It kind of has elements of that in this game, which, you know, I kind of correlated a lot with my own personal life. And at the same time, it's just very different in its direction of writing. And like before Nier, I've never played Drakengard or the original replica Gestalt games.
Yeah.
But it's grown a curiosity where I want to play the other titles in the game, or since this game alone has increased so many sales, the typical Drakengard to Nier game sells somewhere between 200,000 to 250,000 games, as compared to Nier Automata, which has sold over 2 million copies to date, which is amazing. And hopefully this would inspire Square and Platinum to probably make a future Nier title, but also probably at least remaster the older games, you know, Drakengard and stuff like that. I still have my PS2, and I might venture out and buy some of the older ones. The thing that made Nier pop out more into my eyes this year was the fact that it was advertised by other gamers, and it was on YouTube, it was on Twitch, and people kept talking about how good this game was. Even though there was like other big titles, like we just got over the hype over Horizon Zero Dawn earlier in January.
Oh my god.
And the release of Switch, which was coming out a couple days after the release of Nier. So the timing of it was just
horrible.
Not really horrible, but it was just, it's surprising how much it stood out with all of that going on.
Yeah.
So finally I sat down and I got through Route A, and I was like, I need to play more. And that's like the good thing about this game. After you get through one route, you want to learn more about the characters. You want to know the other perspectives, and you want to play through the game.
But I like how they did the concept of Adam and Eve too. Like traditionally you see in most games that they only they portray Adam and Eve as in biblical times, like, oh yeah, Adam and Eve, like Adam is a man, Eve is a woman. But I like how this twist happened where they put Adam as an older brother. They put both of them as brothers. So Adam is the older brother, and then Eve is the younger brother, which is like, that's new. Okay, I can get behind this. But it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna say like the most unpopular opinion. And we were talking about this before too, but it's just like, I don't know, like when I first heard about this game, and then I first heard about this game from a friend in an anime club in my college, and he was just, I made a comment about 2B's like outer appearance and everything. I'm like, I like the gothic Lolita and everything, but it's just like, it's, to me, I like conservative wear as much as, that's just me. I'm kind of conservative, so I'm just like, it's not practical in a video game. But then again, video games are not meant to be practical. But me, it's just like, I don't know. To me, it just didn't sit right. And then what made it even worse was then he mentioned that there was a comment made by the creative director, and he's like, oh, I just like girls. First of all, you have to remember that. And I had to confirm that, and it's true in an interview with Vice that they did an interview with him in February of this year about it. And I'm just like, I mean, you could have danced around that, made it all pretty, but if you see the lore of Drakengard, then it's understandable why they're all like that and everything, why they're dressed that way. Not just 2B, but like during the whole entire series where you see some of them in lingerie, some of them like skimpy bikinis and everything. It's that, I guess that's just part of the culture, but it's just, to me, last time I checked, I'm playing a really creative, well thought out game, not like watching a Vocaloid music video, watching the Kagamini twins just go like emo. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, but anyway, that's just me. I don't know. I guess I have to play this game to understand it, but just watching the gameplay and watching the cutscenes and everything, it's just, it's pretty well in depth. I think it's more in depth than Kingdom Hearts, if you think about it. It's definitely. Just like, they went balls deep into this story. I'm just like, game mechanic wise, how is it though?
Gameplay wise, it follows a lot of the RPG elements. Controller wise, just hold down, just like when you play, just tape down a button, you know? So that, because, okay, you have like your pod, you're accompanied by a pod, and then there's yourself.
That's
the pod shoots out bullets throughout the whole time. So literally, to save you an extra key, just tape it down.
Just tape it down.
Just keep running.
As like, with any Square Enix game, like what the fuck?
Hold the button. Square likes that element. Hold the buttons. Except for Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is very smashy.
Oh my god.
But we're not going to talk about that because this is not the year of Kingdom Hearts. So shh, don't speak anymore. Besides that, it follows like an RPG system. So you're leveling up. You can level up anything from your weapons, yourself, your memory. See, this is another thing. Since she's an android, you can actually increase her memory space inside of her.
But she's a computer, so more memory is gonna be. Oh, I would imagine she has like a terabyte of memory in her.
No, she doesn't. You actually get her with like 32 gigs, 16 gigs of memory.
Oh my god, that's so
like,
small.
And like you gotta get a lot of credits to expand it. And what's also really interesting about Nier is, in like Route C, you can actually buy all the trophies to platinum it instead of actually platinuming it yourself. Now, a lot of people have talked about, is it really worth doing it being called a completionist, or are you just cheating your way out of getting, you know?
I say you're cheating, okay?
I mean, I think it's really interesting. Like, that's just another thing that like Tara does. It's like an interesting direction. It's not something that anyone else would really think of for their game. They're not going to be like, oh, let me just add in, you know, the trophies as a buy-in instead of like, you know, actually working for it.
Yeah, but I still feel like you're cheating. If you have to buy like things to get a trophy, you're cheating.
Yeah, but you need like 22 million credits to do it. It's not, that alone is an achievement in itself. To grind for money.
But you know what? You gain more character to your character.
Oh, yeah, that is Nier Automata, our number 2. And now,
I love
for our number 1.
Who won Game of the Year this year? Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild! Ah!
The launch title for the Nintendo Switch, which came out on March 3rd of 2017. I would say it's mostly the main reason why anyone would get a Switch, besides the fact that you forgot that it came out for the Wii U.
Oh my god, I'm so excited, my boy!
Yeah, Niece is a huge Legend of Zelda fan. So
yes!
She's just fangirling really hard, even though as of this date, she hasn't even touched the game herself.
I haven't yet, I'm sorry!
But I have, so that's what I'm here for. And basically, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild tropes, like, it's an homage to the original Legend of Zelda with so many new factors and elements to the game, which really revamped the whole Legend of Zelda series. It's kind of like
the traditions of how it's played and everything.
Yeah,
it's like,
but it's like also that transition of what the Legend of Zelda had when Ocarina came out for the 64. That open world sense feel, and it was like 3D, and everyone was flipping out like, oh my god, this is the game. This is like the Holy Grail Legend of Zelda. Now with Breath of the Wild, even on like Metacritic, it's like the top game of Legend of Zelda. It outsold almost every other game that's come out, and it's amazing. I mean, I literally have not stopped playing it. Like, I originally played it on the Wii U. I was one of those poor souls that had a Wii U and played it. And
why would you do that to yourself?
Because I wanted to play the most amazing game I've ever played this year. Do you understand that?
I'm gonna understand it soon.
Yeah, you still have days to come.
Yeah.
But let me continue. So for this one, for Breath of the Wild, how it starts off, our boy Link is waking up after 100 years of sleep in the Shrine of Resurrection. Waking up, he finds out that he has to save Hyrule from the Calamity Ganon. Now, this game, compared to its other predecessors, has a different style of how you're going to defeat Ganon. Basically, you have to go and find the 4 Divine Beasts, which are in the Gerudo, the Goron, the Zora, and the Rito villages, respectively, even though there's different domains and different titles for each one. And all the different biomes that are there. Rain, I hate you. I hate you, Rain. I just want to say that real quick. Jesus. You ruin my climbs, and I have to use Rivali's Gale every 50 seconds.
But they're trying to keep it with the natural elements, alright? That's what I like about this, alright? Even, I've been seeing gameplay of it, but it's just like, Nintendo kept it true with the elements, and I'm just like, I appreciate that a lot.
Okay, even though Link is somewhat the avatar in this game. Put that aside.
And Sora a little bit just for sleeping 100 years. And I thought Sora was a fucking lazy bomb. Anyway, continue.
Anyways, besides that, you have to, you know, regain previous memories that he has to get the true ending of the game. Because actually, if you end the game without the memories, you get, like, the fake ending. Or just, like, part of the real ending, but not the good stuff in the ending. And it's very adventurous. Like, even the way you can do the game, it's like you don't even have to go find the 4 Divine Beasts. If you wanted to be like gun-ho, you can just, you know, do the first shrines and then just hop down with your parasail, fight Ganon, call it endgame, and there you go. Or you can, you know, search for all 120 shrines and collect the hearts, collect the Master Sword, go get the Hylian Shield and then fight Ganon. Or, you know, there's so many different ways you can do things. And even now with the DLCs added in, you can do Trial of the Swords, or you can even do refight all of the bosses again in the Champions Ballad. So it's just, there's a lot of different techniques of how you can get it done, and there's no necessary means of an order to get things done. And that's what makes this game so unique. And on top of that, the amazing soundtrack as you play, it's like, it fits with what you're doing, you know, the music from battle to just roaming around, and it's just, it fits so great. It's the right ambiance that a game has, and it's really the true seller. And it's Nintendo, you just gave it your all with this game, and I'm so happy.
And one thing that they did, that Nintendo did differently, that they haven't done with any of the Legend of Zelda series, is that they gave the characters voices. That's true. We actually have voices.
Except for Link.
Of course, except for Link, alright? I'm waiting.
And also, like, the backstories they give to each of the champions, and even Zelda's backstory in this game is unique. And even as you go, especially with the new DLC to the Champions Ballad, they have additional diaries that go with each of the champions. And even after you finish the initial DLC, you can refight all the Divine Beasts, even the puzzle solving. Like, I love the fact that there were basically no dungeons, but at the same time you can view the shrines as dungeons in a way. But it's just so much puzzle solving, and it makes your brain work so much. And the fact that there's just so many different ways you can solve one thing in a game just leaves so many open-end possibilities and stuff like that. And that's the uniqueness of a game that you can have. It's like, it's everything that people loved about the original Legend of Zelda. The fact that you were like, oh my god, I can go here, I can go there, and try this out, and do this. And that's the same feeling. That's that feeling that Nintendo made for this year. And that's the same thing you saw in Super Mario Odyssey. And it was also brought over to the Legend of Zelda. So both classic, iconic titles just got that revamp. And it was just like, oh my god, this is what I loved about this game. This is what makes Nintendo first-party games unique. And it's exciting.
But it is also like, the funny thing too is that with Legend of Zelda, and it's a lot like Skyrim in a sense, but you're not creating your character. I mean, you have the different outfits for it, but
there's almost too many outfits at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many. There was like one point when I was playing and I was like, wait, where is this? And I'm like, I'm sorting, and I'm like, wait, which item is which? I can't tell. It's just all a blob in my eyes.
Yeah. So I think if they had a sorting system, that would be great. But no,
they do. It's just that even with that, it's just so much.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Nah, but like when it came, it just, this Legend of Zelda that came out, it's just it's a lot like Skyrim in a sense where the world is so immersive and you get to explore at your own leisure and everything. And it's funny because you can use the amiibos in Skyrim now that it's coming out for the Switch if it hasn't already.
Yeah, I think Skyrim's coming out already.
Oh, okay. But no, that's the really cool thing because Legend of Zelda, the new one that came out, it's a lot similar to Skyrim, and then they can use each other's each other's like clothes, and I think weapons as well. It's like really interesting.
Yeah, I think the Master Sword's in Skyrim.
Ah!
But also the fact that you can also use the amiibos to get like extra bonus items and stuff like that. The amiibos are so nice. And even if you have some of like the previous other Legend of Zelda amiibos, you get the skins. Like they have the Fierce City and some of the other ones I can't really remember off the top of my head. Yeah, my bad.
But it's just well done, Nintendo.
Claps.
Well done.
Claps to you.
Oh my
claps
god.
To you and claps to all the other games that we've mentioned in this list. 2017, you really have been an amazing year for gaming, and we're just really excited for what 2018 is going to have in store for us.
Yes! 2018, bring it on!
So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it. If you have comments about the videos we mentioned or even your own personal top 5 list, mention that in the comments.
Yep.
So,
if you don't like any of our games that we listed, please list down your games, and we like to hear why you think that this should be part of our top 5. We like to hear about it, and you know what? We're always open to new games, so definitely give us a comment down below.
But yeah, so we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye! See you in 2018!